सॉरी बोल.
Sorry.
हाँ सॉरी बोल.
There was a point of time where I was worried for Kartik Aaryan as an actor. The man who has made a name for himself with commercial comedies would have become a caricature of himself, so much so that producers would not cast him in anything other than the roles that were working. With several creative differences and professional backlash, I saw a man sign films with a vengeance, almost to prove that he is on the lookout of redefining himself as a performer, signing films with creators like Ram Madhvani and Hansal Mehta. Dhamaka is one of those films, an interesting and offbeat combination of Kartik and Madhvani that really interests viewers of whether Kartik can prove himself outside his comfort zone. The film available on Netflix is a remake of the 2013 South Korean film Terror Live and focuses on a journalist Arjun Pathak played by Kartik Aaryan, a man who is in a professional slump and has been demoted from primetime television to hosting a radio show with the same channel. When a caller states that he is going to blow up Sea-Link in Mumbai, the host brushes it off as a prank call, only to the shock of many to notice that the iconic bridge has been actually bombed. How the journalist takes this situation as an opportunity to use it as leverage in order to make his return to television, the irreversible impact that it has on the city of Mumbai, the nature of journalism that is exposed, and more importantly, the motive of the caller gets slowly unearthed. This basically forms more or less the entire premise of this film. This is a movie that cannot be fully praised or completely dismissed, and therefore I would also urge you to comment down below of what worked for you and did not work for you regarding this movie. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it on Netflix or not. Efficient editing and screenplay. This movie is a scene-to-scene remake of the original South Korean film. This is both a plus and the problem with this movie. The issue is something that I will come to later, but the reason why it works is because the original narrative does not waste time to get into the thick of things immediately. There is almost no time for setup or context, and we are right into the radio show and the call commences. Yes, of course, a Pratik Kohad song in the introduction might be misplaced, but that is Hindi cinema for you. The odd need for creators to over-explain and spoon-feed us a romantic montage to provide context of how happy the couple is. The film is 1 hour and 44 minutes long, so it really does account for an exciting watch. It has its outlandish and subpar moments along the way, but what I can say is that the film is not a slog in any way. New developments take place, dynamics consistently change, and this accounts for an exciting watch, especially if you have not seen the original film. If you have seen the South Korean movie, I would honestly be bewildered on what could be the reason to watch this film other than Kartik Aaryan trying to reinvent himself. Writing. The poorest quality about Dhamaka is its dialogues written by Puneet Sharma and Ram Madhvani. While trying to provide an insight into the state of journalism and an insight into the mind of Arjun Pathak, the dialogues are extremely generic and sometimes uncomfortable to listen to. As I told you previously, the film is a scene-to-scene copy of the South Korean film, and what is disappointing is that the creators have in no way adapted the film to be unique to a country like India. Other than the bridge changing its location and being in Mumbai, the characters are almost exaggerated stereotypes of the individuals that we saw in the original film. Other than the sex of some of the characters that changes, nothing really gets altered. Amruta Subhash is handed the most generic lines as the stoic producer who could only care about the ratings of her channel. From dialogues that consistently state things like "thoda aur drama," "thoda aur action," "cue sad music ka volume badhao." Its attempt is to showcase the heartless nature of journalism but lacks the nuance that is expected from a Ram Madhvani film. There isn't a single scene in this movie where there isn't a blaring background score to assist the film, and I wondered as the producer kept on giving pep talk to her host about what is news and what is truth. There are two approaches that you can take regarding an insight into any industry. Either it can be as layered as the newsroom, or it can be as stereotypical and over the top as a Madhur Bhandarkar movie that worked in the 2000s, but 15 years have passed from that kind of storytelling. The lack of subtlety in this film is something that will definitely be a sore to the eye. Let me know what you think about the same. The supporting cast. I cannot in any way fault the performances of the supporting cast of this film. Ram Madhvani is a very unique director who shoots his actors in real time, and the interactions that you see with Arjun Pathak, that includes the caller, the producer and the reporter on location, it's actually happening in real time. So this enhances scenes and demands a lot more conviction from the actors. While Amruta Subhash is handed the most ordinary and generic lines, she really stands out as the no-nonsense producer in the film. Mrunal Thakur Thakur has a small part, but she doesn't put a foot wrong in any way. I don't know why, but a lot of people are not talking about Soham Majumdar, who's the caller in this film. I understand that most of it is voice acting, but the man really has a command over his dialogues. To invest you into the motive and storyline just through your voice, you really have to work on how to modulate and enunciate at the right moments, and he has done a splendid job. Over the top and subpar moments. My biggest issue with the film was that even in its high moments, whether Arjun finding himself trapped in a corner or emotional moments where characters think that they will lose someone, it doesn't really impact you to rile up an emotion within you. A cue of a sweet moment that would be followed by a melancholic background score just did not make me emotional. Did you also feel that you were not as invested emotionally, especially when a song like Kya Khoya Kya Paya played? Somehow I felt that the core emotion seemed to be missing. Not to forget some of the over-the-top moments that include a rescue mission of a little girl caught hilariously in contrast to the original film, and the man on the call basically playing God and having a nexus that is tapped into every building and individual you can think of. At one point of time, I was like, this man is capable of anything, and it is going out of hand, something that I felt about the original film anyway. Kartik Aaryan and the intention of its commentary. This was my biggest point. Can Kartik Aaryan convincingly portray the role of Arjun Pathak in a Ram Madhvani film? I had my doubts, and I can surely tell you that he has put forth a really good effort as an actor. I'm being kind by saying this because I think it is praiseworthy that a man is trying to experiment and reinvent himself. There are moments where I was surprised on how natural his performance was, reacting to what Madhvani's world offers, a lot of randomness, a soundcheck interrupting his thought process, or a man offering him coffee when he is in absolute distress. Kartik naturally reacts to his surroundings brilliantly. I was rooting for him to do well throughout the film, but I can definitely say that in the emotional moments, there is a stark difference between the realism that was offered by Ha Jung-woo in the original film versus Kartik being a little louder for the same. The performance is not entirely bad, he stretches himself and really attempts authenticity, but there is merit to the argument that his performance is inconsistent. I think such experiments will only make him more versatile and capable, but it is a good start. The portrayal of TRP-hungry journalism can get a bit jarring, but you understand the motive of the creators that shed light on the bloodthirsty nature of these companies that only care about their ratings despite the gruesome circumstances being covered. Dhamaka is an above average watchable thriller, but something that I was expecting way more from. I wanted it to represent where it was set rather than just a generic scene to scene copy of the original film. Kartik Aaryan in these interesting worlds is something that I am always game to see, as I never really know what I will be in store for. Kudos for the effort, but do not in any way expect a masterpiece with this adaptation. Dhamaka does the bare minimum, it doesn't soar to become exceptional. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.